Well, that's right. I'm here with the presidential candidates for the ASI election. John, Kelly, Jake, thanks for joining us. We'll just get started real quick. I know you guys have been asked tons of questions. We don't want to be too repetitive, but just in a few words, can you describe your main platform? John, go ahead.
All right. My main platform is about communication, really making ASI visible to the students, really making sure that students understand what's going on in the government, where their money is being spent, increase transparency, make it easy for students to get their voice heard using the internet and technology.
My platform is based off directly what I've seen from the feedback from students. I have 5 main points that I've developed based off of what I feel like the students need around the campus, being affordability, sustainability, campus climate and diversity, student access to services, and statewide representation.
I've decided to base my platform based from the outreach that I've done throughout the year. So I'm focusing on degree progress, student access, and diversity on this campus.
So what is one characteristic that sets you apart from the others? We'll start with Jake on this one.
I feel like the one characteristic that really is going to set me apart from the other candidates is just the hands-on experience that I've had throughout my role in ASI and even prior to that, on and off campus. I really feel like I have made connections with different organizations and different clubs, and just that volunteer and leadership experience is really going to benefit me as my role as an ASI president.
Okay, perfect. And John?
I really think it's that I'm going to bring a fresh and unique voice to the students, really making sure that their voice is heard in the ASI government, and also that they know what's going on in the ASI government, because sometimes there's a huge student population and there's not a lot of people who are part of ASI, and I want to make sure that all the students know what's going on, where their fees are being spent, and I think that that fresh voice is really unique to me.
Kelly?
One characteristic that I think sets me apart is, well, not only my qualifications and experience within ASI and knowing the corporate side of the policy of the organization as well, but my approach to the position, knowing that I don't have, you know, these platforms that I've developed aren't my personal goals, but they're the goals of what I feel like the students need, and I think that's important to have your #1 priority be the #1 student's priority.
Next question will go to Kelly first. What is your weakest characteristic in respect to your campaign, and how will you overcome it?
Well, I feel the weakest characteristic, you know, I think it's a downfall maybe in the position of ASI presidency. I think that it's hard since it only is 1 year's worth of, you know, a term, and I think that that's difficult because you can only accomplish so much within a year. Also, what I think is hard as an individual person, you know, I only have my experience around the campus, and while I have experienced, you know, situations with others and have been able to get their feedback, I think it's difficult because, you know, we really need to stress the communication to open up between the students so that we can incorporate, you know, everyone's experience and their feedback into my platform and my goals for next year.
There's a lot of learning for me to do, but I think that's a great thing, because Cal Poly is about learning by doing. I'm going to have to spend this summer really learning about the state legislation, really learning how the CSU fits into it, understanding the ASI government, and how I can influence it for the way that students want. And that's something, though, that I'm really dedicated to, and that I think my history of, you know, now I'm a computer science graduate student, of really making an effort to get a great education. That's a good point of that.
A lot of the things that a president wants to do, or the ASI wants to do, will take longer than that 1 year. So I really want to focus on educating the students that, you know, regardless of if you see immediate changes or not, there has to be a starting point sometime, and that's really what I want to make known to the students, that I am going to work for the things that I've said. And with a strong executive cabinet, they'll be there to support you with any curveballs that are thrown your way, so that you can continue to make progress as your role within the ASI student government organization.
Last question, what will be your first step if you are elected? John?
My first step will be to begin, I want to begin weekly video blogs, really informing students about what I'm doing as the president, how their money is being spent, and also I want to showcase clubs or events coming up on Cal Poly. Obviously, I'm going to try and make it something entertaining so students will log on and really watch it, but I want it to become a thing where every week people are like, oh, I'm getting informed about what's going on, I'm going to bring up the issues at the state level, I'm going to bring up the issues on campus, and make sure that what ASI has to offer is right there in front of students, and that they know what they can be a part of.
Kelly?
My first thing to tackle as president would, you know, like I said, based off of my platform, it's going to be what the students' priorities are. And if I were to look into doing something right now, if the situations currently were the same as they were in the fall, I think that our #1 priority needs to focus on the affordability around this campus based on the college-based fees. It's going to turn into an accountability issue if they do go through next year, and also working with our diversity issues that did happen in the fall. I think that we need to see something more than just hear about it like we have so far, so that would be my first thing that I would like to tackle.
And Jake?
I would really like all students to understand what ASI does as an organization. I feel like a lot of students at Cal Poly don't really know that we're here to represent them and advocate on their behalf to the administration and even at a state level. So the first thing that I would do is basically revolving around an internal restructuring to bring the three branches of student government together so that we can more cohesively work to serve the students better, and then in turn that will just create a more successful approach to student outreach.
Perfect. All right, well, thank you for joining us. I'm going to give you like 10 seconds each. Just go ahead and promo yourself, tell them about your website. We'll just start with John.
All right, yeah, check out my website. It's calpolyjohn.com. I put up new information about the ASI budget if you want to know where your fees are going. I've also put up information about my budget for the campaign, and there's some video going up, so check it out, calpolyjohn.com.
Kelly?
My website is votekellygriggs.com. We just really want to encourage everyone to make an informed decision about this election, get to know all of us as candidates. Voting is next Wednesday and Thursday, so we really want to make sure that there's a good voter turnout, since your voice is going to be heard through one of us for next year. So yeah, please visit my website. I'm encouraging student feedback. You can email me, ask me any questions. Again, it's votekellygriggs.com.
And I also encourage students to make an educated vote when they're voting on May 6th and 7th. So be sure to check out jacobalvarez.com. There's also a comment box for suggestions. And I just really want to close up saying that I hope that my experience and involvement really does speak for itself as my goal to serve as Chief Student Advocate for Cal Poly.
All right, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
Voting is May 6th and 7th. Back to you at the desk.